Mhm.
Okay, good afternoon to all. We want to take this time to welcome our presidential candidate, especially Councillor Tier 1, Say Gungalo, for now on our platform. And we know that today is the day that we are having a conversation with our Liberia's presidential candidates. And we stated from the beginning this particular discussion came about the fact that we had one of our discussion the power of one vote, the future of Africa, emphasis Liberia, and the demand came like, oh no, we want to talk to these presidential candidates. What do they have to offer? What their platform is like? And so now we are here. We have one presidential candidate thus far on. We're going to respect his time. It's 4 minutes after the time. We also have individuals from Liberia whom we have spoken to be a part of this discussion where they will have opportunity to ask the presidential candidate a question based on the fact that we have they also deal with young individuals in Liberia. They are advocate. They also have their own organization within our country, Liberia. We have one Mr. Vani Sharif, who is the chairperson for the young ambassador for peace in Liberia, Liberia's chapter. We're also supposed to be joined by one Mr. Alex Divine. He is responsible for the Liberia's national debate. That's the guy that does it. And we saw the need that the fact that he lives in Liberia, he knows the pain and struggle, and he sees it in the eyes of those that participate, the high schools or students that participate in this particular educational venture. And we really want to congratulate them. We also have our own Dr. Caroline Davis, who is also on the call. She's also a hardworking person and have done a lot advocacy, empowering women, and all those good stuff. She's also a member of the Liberian View. We have our own Yesende inside Liberia, the heart of the nations. She's also a member of this particular team. We're supposed to be having our own Leo Johnson, president of Liberian community in Canada. And we have Dr. Arlene White, Lindsay, and Andrew Kier, our member. They are the technicians back here helping me putting all the stuff, all the good stuff together. As we stated, we have individuals that will be asking questions, but we give the opportunity to our own Mr. Felix Wilson before we start to really um, talk a little bit when it comes to the purpose of this particular discussion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Felix Wilson. I want to welcome our esteemed guests in the person of Councilor Gonglo, presidential candidate for Liberia this year, and all of our platform guests, Dr. Davis, Sister Martin Prayer, and everyone else that will be joining. Those of you in Radio Land, in Liberia, especially in other parts of the world, we welcome you. This is the Liberian View, a nonpartisan platform that have been in existence for several years now, providing quality intellectual discourse on topics that are dear to the hearts of Liberians, both in Liberia and the diaspora. Some of the key things we've talked about over the years have been linked to our past, tribalism, how we can move forward as a nation, our youth and their experiences here in the United States, and the culture and its impact on them, and how they can handle that. And of course, most recently, the power of one vote as we approach our upcoming elections, which was very, very thought provoking and actually garnered over 5,000 views. And that's led us to today, where majority of our viewers requested um, uh, a chat with some of the candidates, if not all, to hear your vision. So we expect to have three candidates today in the person of one Councillor Gonglo, Madam Sarah Besler Yanti, and Honorable Dr. Maniwa. But right now we have Councillor Gonglo, and so we're going to get started. Madam Chair, do you want me to proceed with the introduction?
Not. I know that we have. For before you do that, we have. Cindy, do you want to say anything before we start introduce? Because as soon as we introduce our presidential candidate, the next voice you'll be hearing will be our own Dr. Caroline Davis, who will start the discussion and the questioning.
Yes, I do. Let me first of all say thank you for making this possible for us to be able to sit and have a conversation with one of the aspiring of the presidency. Councillor Gonglo, it's an honor hosting you today to talk to us about what lies ahead, where and hopefully you can paint us a picture of what your particular leadership will look like, what you have in store for us, especially for the younger people and our children yet to be born, my grandchildren. And hopefully you can also draw them in that they're part of this conversation. Because for me on this journey, and any other person that I speak to, it's about the children, it's about the future. Now, what we do now is the future is actually now. So what we do now would be what the future will become. So it's an honor having you. Thank you for availing yourself to talk to us and to talk to the Liberian people today. And
Thank,
Phyllis, Dr. Caroline, of course, our dear Lucy Care. Thank you. Good to be.
thank you so much. We have our own Mr. Vani Sharif. Mr. Vani Sharif, can you take a minute just to say a word, please, before you start asking your question after Dr. Caroline Davis?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm actually struggling to get through. I don't know whether it's my mic. I can really barely hear you when I'm trying to fix up the earpiece to
Okay.
probably enhance my hearing, but I'm struggling
Okay,
to hear.
that'll be fine. We are ready. We're hearing you clearly. We are hearing you clearly. Okay.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Do you want to say a word? Because are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay, sure. Thank you very much. Like I said earlier, it is a privilege having this distinguished guest team here, our leaders and our presidential candidates. I sent my fraternal regards to Councillor Tewin Gunglo and also Dr. Caroline, Mr. Felix Wilson. And I take this time to extend my thanks and appreciation to Miss Care for having this kind of insightful discourse to engage our leaders that will be able to tell us what the vision for Liberia were they to be given the presidency, what are the plans they have for the masses of the Liberian people, how are they going to see themselves as a Liberian people, ordinary people, to make sure that they help change the situations of Liberia, the abject poverty, the poor health system, the poor road network, and what have you. So it is a privilege having you all. We hope be a very interactive and fruitful discussion for the betterment of Liberia. No, thank you so much, and I look forward to a very intriguing discussion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I know that Dr. Caroline Davis is having a little technical problem. I'm sure she will be on soon. However, Vani, I know you check your email, and can we just start the question from the first questions?
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
All right. Just a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Vani, hold on for 1 second. We'll first introduce our own councillor, Chairman Gongolo, and that will be done by Mr. Felix Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am going to read exactly what was sent to us. I will summarize it because of its length, but try to read the most of it that is uh, pertinent to our viewers and our listeners. Who is Tiawan Gonglo? And Councillor Gonglo, please forgive me if I mispronounce any words here. You can correct me when you speak. Tiawan Gonglo is a trusted Liberian lawyer and human rights campaigner with decades of experience in leadership anchored on integrity, dedication to duty, creativity, transformation, and putting Liberia first always. He was born and raised in Liberia 65 years ago under the union of teacher Wilfred Klibo Gonglo and Elizabeth Mangwa Gonglo, both deceased, in Glei Zupia, Yawin, Mesona Statutory District, Nima County, Northern Liberia. Gonglo received basic primary and secondary education from quite a few schools, including J.W. Pearson School in Ganta Kindergarten, Menla Public School, Tapeta Government School, GAS School in Dassa Community, Monrovia, and the Roman Catholic School, St. Francis Elementary and Junior High School in Tapeta, and the St. Mary's High School in San Quentin, Nima County. He is a Christian and of the Roman Catholic denomination. He is married to Mrs. Sonny Koleko Gonglo of Lofa and Magibi counties. Tiawan is the father of three children, Tiawanlin Gonglo, Ekpan Gontowa, M. Gonglo, and Stanley Brisbane. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree in economics from the University of Liberia and LLB Law from the Louis Ito Graham School of Law, University of Liberia. He also has a certificate in human rights advocacy from the Columbia University, United States of America, making him the first Liberian to be formally trained in human rights advocacy. Spoken language include Ma, Dan, English, as well as a little bit of French and Amharic from Ethiopia. Um, I will allow Dr. Gonglo to talk about why say and why now, and I'll just go down to name some of his public service before and now. Minister of Labor, he served as Solicitor General, Executive Assistant to the President, Interim Government of National Unity, Assistant Professor, Louis Ito Graham School of Law, President, Liberian National Bar Association, Chairman, Movement for Justice in Africa, First Chairman, Civilian Complaints Boards of the Police and Immigration, Chairman, Liberia Coordinating Mechanism for HIV/AIDS, Malaria, and TB, Member, Supreme Court Ethics Committee, Member, Examination Board of the Supreme Court Bar, Life Member, Governing Board, African Bar Association, and Member, Public Interest Lawyers Association of West Africa. Some awards and honors include GAM, Grassroots Alternative Movement, Human Rights Watch Policy Research Fellow, Harvard University. A. Philip Randolph Bayard Rustin Freedom Award, former W.E.B. Du Bois Research Fellow, Howard University, former Human Rights Policy Research Fellow, Carr Center for Human Rights Policy, Kennedy School of Government, Harvard University. Lemani, Liberia Mandingo Association, United States. Liberian Media, Print and Electronic, Inquirer Newspaper Man of the Year, New Republic Newspaper Lawyer of the Year, New Republic Human Rights Lawyer of the Year. Some publications, uh, Councillor Congo has written a lot on issues of human rights and constitutional government. Include Rebuilding the Justice System in Liberia, 2005, unpublished fellows paper, Lost Carr Center for Human Rights Policy, Kennedy School of Government, Harvard University. 2005, Impunity, a Threat to Freedom Man, op-ed co-author with Jen Romeo Dilleri, former commander of the UN peacekeeping troops in Rwanda. And 2003, Help Us Rebuild, an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal. Lastly, The Law in the Media in Liberia, a booklet published by the Media Foundation for West Africa in Ghana. Among other things, but most noteworthy here is he is in this, according to him, for a better Liberia. As he says, a better Liberia is possible. So we welcome to the platform Councillor Tiawan Gonglo.
Okay, thank you so much, Councillor Gonglo. We just gave you 2 minutes to get. If you want to say hello to everyone before we start the questioning, we give you the floor to do that.
Let me say hello to everyone. I'm happy to be on this platform for the first time. I've been on so many Liberian platforms in the United States, Asia, and other places. But this is my first time on this platform. And I see that you have more women than men, which is good.
Yeah, we got 3 women here, and we have the rest are men. So you're in a
Well,
safe hand.
I see two men. So
Okay.
that's the
Okay.
last
We
time I
just got
appeared in the studio. It was three women interviewing me, Voice of
okay.
Liberia. I feel very good about that. So,
Okay, then that's good.
okay.
Okay, so I think we just have one Alex Divine. Alex, are you there? Okay. Okay, having said that, we'll turn it over to our own Dr. Caroline Davis, who will start the questioning. And then the next voice we hear will be our presidential candidate, uh, Councillor Tiawanse Gonglo, answering the questions. And then we'll go to Mr. Vani Sharif and then Mr. Alex Divine and the rest of our crew. So, Dr. Davis, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Lucy. Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Sorry, I've been experiencing some technical problems, but I think I got it fixed now. I'm really excited about this conversation today. And Councilor Gunglo, we are very glad to have you. Thank you for taking time off your busy schedule to visit with us and to talk about our beloved country. Even though some of us live abroad, we still love Liberia, and Liberia is our home. It is commonly said that home is where the heart is, and we are home. We are here, but our hearts are in Liberia. So thank you for taking the time to be with us to discuss issues that are important and pertain to our country. My first question would be to you, sir, is if you were elected as president of Liberia, what step would you take to unify the country? Because right now the country is so fragmented. You have the educated and the uneducated, the conquer and the country, and you have the rich and the poor. You have the young and the old. The country is really fragmented. We still have a fragmentism going on. What would you do first and foremost to unite us before we can move forward?
Thank you for the question. My 10-point agenda for better Liberia starts with rule of law. If you apply the law to everybody equally and respect everybody's rights equally, that would be the foundation. I mean, I felt good 2 days ago when I saw President Trump, former President Trump, coming under the ambit of the law. That makes everybody feel a sense of equality, that the law uh, respects no one. It doesn't treat anyone preferentially, because it is what divides a country when people feel that some people are above another group on the basis of religion, tribe, or whatever, um, you know, idiosyncrasies. But let me say the best way to do anything for social change is by example. I'm already unifying the country even as I'm seeking to be president. For example, I slept in Samuel Doe's home as a result of
Mm.
Lucy, can you guys hear?
No, I think it's technical difficulties.
Yeah, I'm sure you didn't hear me. Okay,
No,
so
we didn't.
I said I slept in Samuel Doe's town. That's Tucson in Grand Jeddah. It may appear simple to a lot of people, but for those who know the history of the 1980s and the war, that was a big deal. For me, a politician coming from Nimba County, a man of man, to sleep in Grand Jeddah, not just in Grand Jeddah, but in Samuel Doe's hometown, uh, was a big deal in terms of reconciliation and unity. And I did that everywhere I went throughout the country. I went to Pinetown, Western Youngstown. Western was vice of the state to Samuel Doe. Going to Pinetown and speaking with the people was a good deal. But more than that, recently I visited all of the political parties, the major political parties headquarters. I went to CDC headquarters. I went to Unity Party. I think you heard about it. I was trying to bring down the tension that is associated with the campaigning. Too much tension was up, and I said, look, let me go to the different party headquarters and declaration. We declared that we'll participate in a non-violent election, but the tension was already up. So I did that. Some people talked that was risk, but if it was a risk, then it was a good risk. I didn't think it was a risk, but some people felt so. But what is leadership is about taking good risk for the majority of the people. So I'm doing that. I'm already unifying the people, but I believe that
We're not hearing you.
unifying the people will be patient. Willing to Is Hello?
Yeah, we're not hearing you.
I'm here. Hello? I'm here. What?
We're hearing you now.
I can hear you.
Yeah, we're hearing you now.
I'm hearing you.
Yes, go ahead.
Oh man.
Counselor, we weren't hearing you. You're going in and out. So you can start if you can hear us now, and let's see if we can if you're more clear than before.
You'll probably have to go out and come back in.
I think that's what he's done.
Can we please silence our phone, please? Those of us that are on, can we just silence our phone because it's not good etiquette to be on this forum and have the phone ringing. Yeah, Councillor Gonglo.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can
Yes.
hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Can you hear us, Councillor?
Somebody needs to message him and ask him to come in using only audio so that he turns off the video. Maybe it might help the internet connectivity.
Counselor, did you hear that?
Can you? Can you? I will use. You can hear me now.
Yes. Yes, sir, we're hearing you.
Hello?
Yeah, Counselor, we're hearing you.
Can you?
Is there any way for
Yes.
someone to message him? Anyone has his contact as
Hear
well?
you.
Yeah, I'm doing that. I'm doing that.
Yeah, tell him to go out and come back in only on audio and turn off the video. Sometimes that might help with the connectivity.
And you might want to change the location he's in too in the house. Uh,
Okay, while we're doing that, we will just wait for him to come. Those of you that have just joined us, maybe you can just introduce yourself a little. I'm trying to get him on the phone. So, Mr. Johnson, if you want to say a little about yourself, why he's joining, that would be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, my apologies for joining on late. This weekend is my national convention, and I'm turning over as president of the Liberian Association of Canada. So, been busy. My name is Leo Napolo Johnson, and I'm the current president for a short while for the Liberian Association of Canada. I'm also the executive director of Empowerment Square, a nonprofit organization that I started here in Canada. Also, wear a lot of different hats, sit on a lot of different corporate boards and nonprofit boards as well. But Liberia is our common patrimony and matrimony. I like to use both. So I look forward to being part of this conversation.
Welcome.
Okay, thank you. I think we have Mr. Alexander, Mr. Divine. If you want to say a few words while our presidential candidate is finding his way back, we appreciate it.
She want go.
I think Alex is having problem connecting. There he is.
No, he's here.
I see that, but it
Okay.
keeps buffering. I see him. But
Hello everyone. Yep, I keep having internet issues. I hope it get resolved, but I'm here though, and it's good to be here.
We're hearing you. We just wanted for you to say a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Just quickly, my name is Alex Divine. I work for Youth for Change Incorporated, and it's a non-for-profit organization here in Liberia. where we work with young people across the 15 counties of Liberia through civic engagement. We provide space where young people are able to talk about issues that affect them and recommend to their government constructively on the kind of country they want to see. We termed one of our program as the Liberian National Debate. Is a civic engagement platform that we've worked 9 consecutive years. We've been doing this. We're taking students from here to represent Liberia in Croatia at the World Debate Championship. We're taking students from here for the first time to also represent Liberia at the Africa Debate Championship that was held in South Africa. We've given a lot of scholarship to most of our students. Most of the young people who pass through our program, like Sata Sharif, Viola, namely, are all doing marvelous different parts of the world. And so we're proud that we work in this space for 9 years. And that's what we do. And also, we bring young people to hold their government accountable. So we bring different topics. So it's good. Yeah, I look forward to an insightful conversation and to also do some
Okay, good.
examination to would-be president.
Okay, Alex, we want to say thank you. We'll turn it over to Dr. Davis, who will continue the questioning. And the floor is yours, Dr. Davis. And please mute yourself while you're not speaking. Thank you.
Councilor Gonglo, welcome back. Can you hear us?
But can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me? No,
Yes.
I said leadership is by example. Leadership is by example. If you are unifying yourself, taking steps, you will unify the whole country. I went to Grand Jury. I slept in Tucson. Recently, I tried to unify all the political parties by going to their headquarters and talking with them to make sure that there is no tension in the electoral process, to reduce the level of tension and to stop violence. I visited some time ago. I visited Ambassador Waka when he was at the hospital at ELW Hospital when there was tragic death in the CDC. I led my party hierarchy to go there and sympathize with them. That is trying to keep people together. That is what this broom represents. One strand of this broom breaks easily. Together is difficult to break. I strongly believe that we cannot succeed in doing anything for Liberia unless we remain or we become a united people. As President Toba used to say, we are one people in the Pele language, Kukle Kukatono. I strongly believe that.
Thank you for that response. And we agree that it's important for us to be unified as a nation because when we are united, we can do great things together. My next question is, how do you plan to stimulate economic growth and job creation over the next 4 years? Economic growth and job creation, how do you plan to stimulate that as president if you were to win?
Okay. So I've talked about establishing the atmosphere for social economic development. That's rule of law. Rule of law establishes the atmosphere to attract local and foreign investment. So we have to be strong on police doing its work and strong on the independence of the judiciary. That will create the required confidence for people to actually participate in the economy. But more than that, there are things we need to do. For example, in economics, they call it comparative advantage. We have the largest forest in West Africa, yet we are only exporting logs. On day one, I will issue an executive order, for example, that no government minister or head of agency or head of corporation will buy foreign-made furniture so that we can create jobs in the wool industry through our local carpenters. They will improve on production of furniture. They will employ a lot of Liberians in that area, and then that will help us. More than that, I intend to promote value addition to the raw materials we have. So to do that, I like to decentralize the economy by dropping corporate tax 50 miles away from Monrovia, every 50 miles away from Monrovia. to the extent that we may have factories as far as Kipamos, Sino, Vonjama, Barclayville, uh, uh, far away places, Zozo, even Bopolu. Why is that important? Today, everything comes to Monrovia. Everybody comes to Monrovia for a job. Why government will not get corporate tax, high corporate tax, but government will have an expanded tax base. If you have 500 people employed, for example, in Kipamos or Barclayville, working for a particular company, then those 500 persons, government will generate income tax from the pay. But there will be a multiplier effect of that kind of investment. Let me use Barclayville. So people have houses in Barclayville. I was there recently. The workers of this company will rent apartments and rooms. The house owners, the real estate owners will get income. Government will tax that income. They too will start purchasing other goods and services in the area, drugstore, insurance, different things. Government will get income tax. The same people, all of these people getting money, will then go to the market, and then they'll be purchasing from the people in the market. That will be generating economic activities. But I intend also to treat Liberians preferentially. That's why I keep saying I want to be a president who will create millionaires outside government, not inside government. By saying that this contract, this construction contract or this other contract, only Liberians will compete. Only Liberians are qualified to compete for this contract. Other countries do it. We will make Liberian entrepreneurs rich by buying goods, educational materials, and other things, big purchases from Liberian businessmen and women. The money will stay right here. That will make them to have the capacity to employ more Liberians. But then the question is, where would the skilled manpower come from? I have in my plan to create free technical and vocational schools for high school graduates and high school dropouts in the 15 counties. Today, the only thing the young people are doing is to ride motorcycles, to dig gold, to do private security jobs. That's all. But when you're looking for mechanics, we look to Ghanaians, Sierra Leonean, Guineans. Here, we should change that story to have Liberians train technicians so that they can help the companies that will be attracted to establish here instead of them bringing people from outside Liberia to do those jobs. That, in my view, will begin to stimulate the economy. Thank you. Did you hear me?
Yes, we heard you. You're muted, Dr. Davis.
Sorry about
I
that.
didn't mute her. I didn't hear Dr. Davis.
We heard you, Counselor. Thank you so much. The problem is not with you, it's from my end. Okay, thank you for the response. The next question is, what measure will you take to address income inequality and ensure a fair distribution of wealth in Liberia?
Okay, so that is a major issue here. The government in power did something called harmonization. But from everything on the ground, it appears that the harmonization, because I'm not in government, but it appears that the harmonization affected the actual service providers, teachers, civil servants, health workers, law enforcement officers. And the people at the top were not affected by harmonization. Here is one clear example. Last year, the president pro tem of the Liberian Senate received a total salary of 254,000 United States dollars. Then I did a research to find out, but how much did the president pro tem of the United States Senate receive? The United States Senate, you can check, the president pro tem received $193,000. I said, wait a minute. The president pro tem of the begging nation received more than $60,000 above the salary of the president pro tempore of the richest nation in the world. This doesn't make sense to me. But this is just a graphic uh, example of the level of income inequality in Liberia, where you have a situation where some civil servants have salary that would take like 5 years to make a minister's salary or something like that. That just shows gross income inequality. So what I intend to do is when I become president, to put the salary of all the officials of government, including the president, vice president, everybody, in the three branches of government on the internet. Just like I can go to the internet and know how much people are making in America.
Mm-hmm.
Because when our employers, the people, see our salaries, and I'll put the salaries of civil servants there too on the internet, on the government website, and see it, they will speak to us. And they will say, this is not fair. And that's another way of actually fighting corruption because in these countries, some people go to government after 2 months, they build a five-story building, start building. And when you ask them, they say, you don't know my salary and benefit. So we'll put all out so that the people can then begin to see the inequality and also the corruption, the unethical and dishonest conduct in government. Because we need to change Liberia's story by straightening up a lot of things. So yes, we will deal with income equality. We will carry up the salaries of civil servants, nurses, law enforcement officers, and other health workers and teachers. Oh, now you can't find teachers now. Too many people don't want to go in the teaching field because they are not well paid. In fact, all over the country, you have what they call volunteer teachers because government is not putting teachers in many of the schools. After pensioning many of the qualified teachers, they did not replace them with qualified teachers. So you have these people called volunteer teachers all over the country, which means our children are not even learning. So yes, we will deal with that so that the people who actually do the work are well paid to be motivated to serve us.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Caroline. So what we're going to do quickly
Oh,
before
did
we
you
get
hear
back
me?
to Dr. Yeah,
Yes, we
we
did.
heard you. So thank you so much, Councillor. So I don't know. We just want to go quickly before we get back to Dr. Caroline again. We want to, respect our Liberian young and very energetic people who are really, really helping the young generation in Liberia who hears their cry, who know the conditions in which our brothers and sisters in Liberia, what actually is happening. So we'll ask Vani to please just, Mr. Sheriff, to ask one question, and then we will do the same to Mr. Alex Divine, and then we'll go to Canada to our own Mr. Leo Johnson to ask one question each. Mr. Vani Sheriff, the floor is yours. Mr. Sheriff?
Maybe you can go to Alex and come back to him. I don't know what happened to his stuff just now.
He needs to
Oh,
unmute.
yeah, I think he's
Vani,
on mute.
Vani,
Yeah,
you're
he's
mute
on mute.
if you're speaking.
Mr. Sheriff, you on mute. Can you unmute
You,
yourself?
you can hear me now?
Yes, we're hearing you.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Councillor, thank you so much for your deliberation. I am going to ask
Just lost.
strictly
We
on
just lost the
foreign
concept.
policy.
Hold for a second,
Am I
Mr.
clear?
Sharif.
Yeah, you're very clear, but just hold on for a second.
Yeah, we just lost.
Okay.
We're gonna get back to you soon, Mr. Sheriff. I
Okay.
think Councillor Gonglo is trying to find his way back on the platform. Hello? That's the that's the problem we have in Liberia. He just called me. He's on his way back. Okay, I'm seeing. Okay, the
I can
counselor
hear
is back.
you.
Okay, the counselor is back. We're hearing you.
Vani, you can go ahead.
I can hear you.
Mr. Vani, you can go ahead with your question. Okay, I think Vani from Liberia is having a technical problem. I don't know whether Mr. Divine, Mr. Divine, are you ready to
Aren't you
ask your
hearing
question?
me?
Yes, Mr. Divine, we can hear you. Mr. Sherry, we're hearing you if you're ready.
Okay, Mr. Divine, you want to go? So I will be after you, if you don't mind.
Mr. Divine, do you want to ask your question?
Hello?
We're hearing you. Do you want to ask your question?
Hello?
We're hearing you. We are hearing you, Mr. Divine.
That's not divine. I think that's Vani Sharif saying hello.
Oh, Mr. Sharif, are you the one saying hello?
Yes.
Okay, we are hearing you, but now we've
Hear
lost
me?
Mr. Gonglu. He's on his way back. Okay, he right here. Hold on.
We've also lost Alex Divine.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so we're just going to ask the question from Canada when Councillor Gonglu comes in. Comes on. Okay, the presidential candidate is back on. So, Mr. Sharif, can you ask your question? Okay, we'll turn it over to Mr. Leo Johnson to ask his question then.
All right, thank you. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Great. Councillor Gongo, great to see you again. It was great running into you at Royal Hotel a few weeks back in Liberia. My question is going to be in twofold since I only have one question to ask you. My first question to you is, as someone like yourself who has a long track record in Liberia, the work you've done, whether it's with individuals or different institutions, both in and out of government, I've been struggling to understand since you announced your presidential bid. The laws in Liberia require political parties to submit their financials to the Elections Commission um, as one of the principle of practice of transparency. I would just like to know: have your party ever submitted any financials to the election commissions ever? Because I have been asking the election commission for financials, and your party, according to them, it looks like we lost them.
He'll soon be on. I don't know what's going on.
I'm sorry.
I think he got portion of your question.
Hopefully he gets back.
Yeah, he'll get back. Yeah, he's here.
Okay.
Okay, he's back.
Yeah. So I will end my question.
Hello?
Yes, we
We're
can hear you.
hearing you, Councillor.
Yeah. I was saying, being the standard bearer of the LPP, one of the things we've yearned for in Liberia, especially as younger people, has been the issue of transparency and accountability and good governance. And giving someone like yourself your experience and your history in Liberia, the elections commissions require in their law that all political parties are supposed to submit their annual financials so that the Liberian people can have an understanding, election commission can understand how you operate. Because we see in Liberia when people win elections, all kinds of people show up and we don't know where they're getting their money from. And the laws of Liberia say we're not supposed to be having foreign financing into our elections. Have you ever submitted, or has your party ever submitted financials to the elections commission that we can access? Because I've been requesting for it and the commission has not been able to have access to it. Has your party ever submitted financials to the election commission? And the second part of the question is leadership by example. You seem to be running for president, and one of the steps to becoming president is the preparation to run a successful campaign. Can you say your campaign has the ability to mobilize the needed resources, including financials, to represent yourself well as a presidential candidate to campaign and compete in a race?
Okay, we have a little difficulty. I know that Councillor heard the question very well. He's gonna join again. I don't know what the issue he's having.
Well, the issue is just the technical problem. We all know how
Yeah,
situations
okay.
are. But in the meantime, I think that when he goes off, we can discuss among ourselves, because the question that the brother is asking right now is very important.
Yeah.
I think he's back.
So he's back, yes. So Councillor, I don't know, are you hearing us?
I didn't get a question.
Okay, but
Let me
Councillor,
be
I
it's
can hear
okay
you, but
now.
I didn't get a question because I want.
The question was regarding whether your party have
I can
submitted
hear
any
you.
financials.
I
Leo,
can
can you
hear you.
please repeat your question briefly,
I
please?
can do it briefly. My question was, has the Liberian People Party, or the LPP, under you, has the party ever submitted any financials to the Elections Commission as required by the elections laws that
Mhm.
annual financials are supposed to be submitted from all political parties? And number two, as a leader yourself, can you say your party is equipped and prepared, example of leadership, with the resources or to mobilize the resources that it needs to be competitive? Hopefully, you heard the first one. The first one when he comes back. Keep my fingers
Yeah,
crossed. But like Dr. Davis was actually saying, if people want to chime
yeah.
in, they can. While we wait for him.
Anyone can chime in.
Well,
Yeah, but
Madam
I wanted,
Chair,
yeah, go
go
ahead.
ahead, Dr. Davis. Now, I was
No,
going to
I just,
suggest that rather than tackle the questions for the candidate, we can pivot back to talking about the the power of one vote, right? 'Cause that's an important topic that anybody can speak to, and leave the questions for the candidates.
Yeah, okay. So, Councillor, did you get the question? Did you hear the question? Councillor, did you hear the question?
Can he try to turn
You said
his
whether
video off?
my party has presented any financial transaction report
Yeah.
to
Leo, can
NEC
you answer, please, Leo?
Yes,
or
I said
something.
as required by the elections law. Has your party ever
Hello,
submitted
can you hear me?
financial? Yes, we can
We're
hear you.
hearing you, Councillor.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes,
can
we're
hear you,
hearing you.
Councilor. Can you hear us?
Okay, every
Councilor
year
Tom?
in September we present report. And September is coming, we present report.
Yeah, my
Okay.
question was, has you
The
ever
chairman,
presented any?
every you are required to present. You are required to present your report every September. We present our.
Is it possible to make that public since you are the
Hello.
corruption?
We,
Yes, we
we
can hear
heard
you.
you.
We heard you. Since you are the anti-corruption candidate with the broom, are you able to make those financial reports public
Report?
for transparent?
Did you say report?
Yes, financial reports. Financial reports.
Hello.
Hi, Councillor. We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Okay. So the last time we were discussing the power of one vote, the future of Liberia. And so we then the next we talked about was the significance of one vote, the responsibilities of presidential candidate. And I know, Mr. Leo Johnson, the question you just asked is one of those that the presidential candidate or political parties owe it to the Liberian people to present such. But we are really sorry that um, our presidential candidate is having a lot of problems. One, hearing the questions, and two, answering it. Are you ready now to answer the question?
He is
Yeah, your question was whether we have presented any report to the Elections Commission.
financial
Is
report
that
as
a report?
required by the election laws.
Wow.
Did you
Can
get
you
the
hear me?
question? Yes, we're hearing you. Councillor, are you hearing us? Councillor, are you hearing us?
You might want to
Okay.
reschedule this with counselor. I
Our
think
connection is really bad today.
Your connection in Liberia?
Yeah, it looks like it's across the board.
Okay.
Maybe we need to reschedule this because um,
Yeah, but
it's
what we could do, because now we are live, we need to, one way or the other, either talk about the significance of one vote, the
Yeah.
responsibilities of presidential candidates, and then be able to speak to the Liberian people regarding their rights, the need, and what they need to do when it comes to this election. Because some of them registered, they already have their card, their voting card. Whether it's missing, where they kept it, that will be their responsibility. And we discuss part of the responsibilities will be making sure to know where they need to go, making sure to ask these kind of questions too, not just to vote. Because if it is required that you present a financial report as a party, you should be able to have that. And on the third, we're also going to be having our own presidential candidate again, Mr. Alexander Cummings. He will be here on the third, and we're hoping that you all will be here to ask him some questions regarding the future of Liberia. So while we await if the counselor comes on, I think we should take this opportunity for individuals on this platform to talk about the responsibilities of this presidential candidate, and also also the electorates in Liberia, so that they can hear this, because we
So,
need for them to present such. So Leo, we want to say thank you for starting the ball rolling on such a question. The floor is yours, Dr. Caroline Davis.
honestly, I personally think that we need to suspend this meeting because it's not going as we had anticipated. And prior to getting on, if we reschedule, um, prior to getting on, I think we all need to be in sync in terms of coming together and making sure everything is functioning before we proceed.
Okay,
Um,
let me just come in quickly.
mhm.
This is live Facebook Live and YouTube. Every individual here went through what they call a run through, or the presidential candidate. So it happens that there's an issue right now in Liberia, and this is not something that is uh, not normal. It is a normal thing in Liberia, especially sometimes these things happen. So if we get off this discussion, I just wanted for everyone here to just chime in so we can close, and then what works, what did not work, then we can talk about that, if you don't mind.
so may I come in a little bit, please?
Yeah.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, we're
Mm-hmm.
hearing you.
Okay, Cameron is not having a good connection, that's for sure. I
Yeah.
don't think because we're getting in bit and pieces. So it's cognitively it does not work well for the human mind. I mean,
Mhm.
just to put it out there, same word anyway. But we have Alex here who is on the ground. We have Leo here who is in and out of Liberia and also working with young people in the community. All right. I think Leo's question were actually on point,
Mhm.
because leading to the election is not an event. Election is a process. Okay. There are processes leading to that particular day that people go out to cast a vote. The citizens have responsibility. Okay. The would-be leaders also have responsibility. We are talking about failed country, a failed nation, people who came before. We're going to fix the future. But the future depends on what we do today. Okay. The would-be leader have to go through the processes to tell us that they are going to follow the law when they get there. So Leah is telling and asking this question, which I'm glad that he did, because I have a lot of questions myself to ask. Those who want to lead us because of where we've been and because of who we are here on this platform, they need to tell us, are they leading by example? Okay, to begin with, you and I know for you to run a clean campaign, you have to be able to raise money. You have to have the money to do that. Two, you need to follow the law. What does the law of the land say? Do they need to have representation or offices in all of the counties? How many counties do they have those? All right. Do they have the fundings that they need? Have they followed the processes that will lead our people? I mean, we can't do business as usual, but I also agree with that, that we should, with the candidate, we need to find another time. Lucy, if you can make the time to,
Yeah, that's what
election
I
is
wanted
that
to just
far
say that.
to improvise. We can't wait for another month to do this. I mean,
Yeah.
if we need to find out to use Zoom, Zoom is kind of more compatible. StreamYard does not, I don't think StreamYard has the
Okay. Well,
bandwidth.
I was just saying that when we leave this call, we can
Mhm.
all talk and then we decide what to do going forward.
Okay,
However, I want to take this time to apologize to the audience that are now
right.
listening to us. And then
Mhm.
after this, after we close, then we're going to talk about what works and what did not work.
Okay,
So we
all
want
right.
to apologize to every one of you that really were in gear wanting to ask your question. When I check in the on the Facebook, I see that a lot of questions are there. However, the question that were asked regarding the financial responsibilities of our political parties, even though they've been vetted and been approved by the election commission, but we just wanted to ask them whether they reported any financial aspect of the political parties to the election commission. And
And
what
whether
about
they could make it,
Mr. Leo
and whether they
Johnson?
could make it, and whether they could make it public, because this is one of the
Yes,
problems we're having with asset declaration. People secretly saying, "Yeah, we file it." Yeah,
Yeah.
those are public records. Your financials are not secret. As a public institution, if you're transparent, you should be willing to publish your financials. People should know what are the sources of your financing and how. If you want to know if an organization, institution is run well, don't listen to anybody. Just look at the financials. You will
right,
quickly be able to tell that it's run well. So when they say
right.
they
Okay.
file it, that's what I ask him. Can you people make these public so that we can make informed decisions when we look at how you are running and managing your various parties?
Thank you so much. And I'm just getting some information that the conversation started so beautifully. They are happy. And once we change the date and send them information, they will be on. So just before we close, I think we can go around to just discuss maybe if anyone here on this particular platform, we know there are a lot of campaigning going on the ground. I've not really seen a lot of education going on, especially when it comes to the responsibilities of the electorates, where they need to vote, whether they have their card, what they need to do with it. I've not seen it. I've been checking. All I see that there are a lot of dancing going on, there are a lot of music, and people are clapping. We are hoping that you're not just cheering and cheering like you went to a football game. We're hoping that you're cheering because you know where to vote, because you know that you're supposed to vote for Liberia. So I will ask my colleagues to chime in just before we close, and we're going to have another date. We know that we're going to be bringing in our presidential candidate, um, Alexander Cummings, on the 3rd of September. And we're hoping that after that, we can also bring in our own Councillor Tiawon Gongolo and the others. So we will go around and add our voices to you all. The importance of knowing your district, the importance of knowing where to vote. and your responsibility to your country, Liberia, not a political party. The floor
Listen,
is open.
if it is okay with all of you, I'm at the airport. I'm actually waiting for a flight. I just didn't want
Yeah,
to miss this. Is it
you can go
okay if
ahead.
I just if I yeah just irrespective of everybody who were here before?
We,
Yeah,
we
no,
Thank
respect
you,
that.
Leo.
Absolutely.
Thank
Safe
you.
travels.
yeah,
You
no,
were a great addition. We look forward to you being on the platform when it's scheduled.
yeah, no, thank you. Yeah,
Please.
I would just say this. For me, I think it's unfair to the Liberian people for blaming them for chanting and dancing and singing. We all have watched a process where we are running a significant national elections that we knew 1 year, naturally we knew 6 years in advance was going to come on this date at this time. And as of now, the entire election process is being planned in 8 to 9 months. There is no voter education. There is no civic engagement. And we blame our people for chanting and singing. That's all they know. No one has ever told them what it means to vote for Liberia. Even the people who are doing voter education is the individual political parties. So they are educating based on wanting people to vote for their candidates. They are not educating objectively to tell people, because if my candidate is maybe in some kind of corruption thing and
And
I go
and
educate,
and and Leo, let me interrupt you. I know you gotta go. It would be unfair to say just on that. That's quantified that some of them.
yeah, yeah,
Some of
no,
them.
yeah, no, some
Yes.
like
Some of them.
some of them.
Yes.
But one, I
Some
guess
of
the
them are
point,
teaching based on that.
yeah, but
Yes, some of them.
yeah, but
Yes.
let's be honest. Any institution you come from, you have biases, whether it's good or not. It doesn't. Your institution may be good, and why you're saying, but you still do have biases. We all do. If I come
We,
from an
we, we, we
institution,
do, but with me, I try to
Okay,
paint you the picture. In fact, teach civic education while you vote. The essence of voting, what your vote should mean to you, because it directs your future.
yeah.
So
So
okay.
those that you're believing in, all right. But yeah, Leo, yeah, it is, and I agree with you. But like you say, you gotta go.
Let's give
Civic
Leo the
education should
opportunity to
not
finish.
be, it should not be left to election year to do that. In the country that I grew up in America, from kindergarten to eighth grade is where you learn everything. From kindergarten to fifth grade, I mean to seventh grade, you learn about your country. Seventh to eighth grade, you learn about the world, how government work, the structure of government, the different type of government, their responsibility, how these things work. So by the time you are in eighth grade, you know that the decision that you make, you are accountable for it. Okay.
Okay,
So yes,
so
I do agree because the
yeah,
strength of
so
the nation depends on the integrity of the home. The
yeah,
home
yeah,
has not been good to our children. So I do agree,
yeah.
but I
Uh,
still think we need to quantify
yeah.
it every time
So
or
okay,
qualify it whenever we do.
that is
let's
where
give Leo the chance to say what he want to say, and
yeah.
then we can. Yeah, go ahead, Leo.
So let me just say it again. No matter, first of all, for me, I'm a very practical person. Nobody is learning through our education system. It's broken down. I'm not going to preach anybody saying go teach civic in our schools. It's not going to work. We don't have the capacity. We don't have the people power. We don't have the infrastructure. None of it exists. Let's be practical. Where our people are getting educated are in the churches, are in the mosque, are at the Atai shops, at the
Yep.
intellectual centers. That's where their education is. That's what I say. How come within 6 years? Look, take what you have and use it. These same Atai shops and churches and whatever could be places we could smartly engage, because that's where our people go. Let's meet them where they are while we try to bring them where they need to be when it comes to.
Correct.
So I'm saying the entire electioneering process is already a failure. No matter the outcome in October, it is an absolute failure because it is not going to be reflective of the informed decision of the Liberian people, because no one educated them to even understand what informed decision making is going to be. And the reason I'm saying that that is important, how many people can tell you, say, they know what's in the platform of Ellis Cummins, they know what's in the platform of Joseph Boakai, they know what's in the platform of CDC? How many people can tell you that? A minute number, very small number of people. And my challenge is, if we are only going to be making decisions doing the same thing 6 years, and number two, let's stop hyping up elections. Nation building does not happen through elections.
Absolutely.
Nation building will take 40 to 50 years of consistency. Let's start hyping up the sectors in our society that should be hyped up. The young people that are doing exploits, the institutions that are doing great. We suck up all the air from people like Brenda Brewer Moore, from Mahmoud Johnson, from all these young people who are hiring thousands of Liberians building up from market women. We put them behind politicians every 6 years, and we expect that nation building will happen. Look, vote for whoever you want. I don't support any political candidate for that reason, because I don't believe any of them have met the standard of the seriousness of the Liberian presidency. They haven't fulfilled their duties as required under the law. Where are their audited financials? I haven't seen it. There are little political parties they are running. They cannot even manage it well. How can we then say
Absolutely.
they will manage the entire country? All
Mhm.
of our political leaders gathered together, went to Farmington, and signed a declaration that has no consequences whatsoever. What happened to education? I thought all of these people, how many peace accords we didn't go to Akosomo, Accra, or Abuja, and all of them did not work because there were no consequences. And today, we are saying electoral violence is a serious matter. It shouldn't happen. But we all go and sign accords that say, let's just say we will not do it. But when anybody do it, what happening with disqualifying parties that are involved in electoral violence? What's wrong with that if we truly believe what we are saying? My last thing I will say to this piece is this. Everybody, we need to start sucking up the air and oxygen from out of these political parties, because it's clear none of them have succeeded. Nobody can build Liberia in 6 or 12 years. It would take the women, the men, the young people who are leading the church in Liberia. We need to elevate them so that people realize the only significant sector in the country is not politics. It is important, but there are also many significant sectors in the country that we need to bring oxygen. As soon as election finish, after this election, everybody will dissipate. There's nothing happening in the country. And then 2 years for the election, all of a sudden, the place is heated up. All these political candidates are giving so much value. They are elevated to be angels, right? So please, it's not against any political party. I know there are political candidates that are doing well. Some of them have gone out there and done the best they can. Kudos to them. But the Liberian presidency is way too important to be mediocre and say, let's just let the other side slide, send the president get it one correct. Let's go there. Those are the few things I would like to add.
Thank you so
Leaders,
much for that. I think it was well said, and we will go around. Anyone wants to chime in, you can do that.
yeah, I would like to chime in, and then after that, I think I will exit. But Leo, you one of the young people in Liberia, a Liberian who lives abroad, and you see things the way they are. And the bottom line is, our leaders in Liberia, they are lawless. They feel that they are above the law. Nobody holds them accountable. They lead by intimidation. Anyone who speaks up, they want to attack you, they want to attack your family, and all of that. So as a result, we like our country is in the situation that is in now. Nobody's holding anyone accountable. The counselor mentioned how he saw a few couple of days ago, he saw former President Donald Trump being indicted for crimes he committed. You know, our people are not accountable. Just drive in Liberia. One way you see that they are not accountable. They'll leave their lanes and they want to come in your lane. And then when you don't move from your lane, they act like you are wrong and cuss you up and all of that. You know, so the bottom line is the people are lawless. So people are afraid to say what they need to say. But you know, you can scare some of the people some of the time, but you can't scare all the people all the time. So we need to rise up. Last time I was on this platform, I said we need to rise up. Liberians need to rise up. That no other country would change our nation and improve the quality of life in Liberia except for Liberians. We got to do it for ourselves. And to the voters that may be watching, I will repeat what I said the last time. You got to vote sensibly. When voting sensibly means you are looking at the big picture, you are looking at your future, you are looking at the future of your children, your grandchildren. You are not looking at somebody who comes and gave you rice and fish during election time. Then you go and be dancing and dancing for them. But you want to vote sensibly. You may not have all the education, and it does not take education to think about this. All it takes is common sense. Common sense can tell you I want somebody who will help me to change my life around, to change my children's life around. So, Liberian voters, I am appealing to you. Look at the platform, like this young man has just said. Look at the platform of the politicians and see who you think will help you turn your life around. Don't just vote for people who gave you rice with stolen money, who gave you fish with stolen money, but vote for people who will help to change the country around. We have to learn to put Liberia first. And that's what I have to say.
That was well said, Dr. Caroline. But I just
Madam
also
Chair.
received a text from Councillor Gongolo. He wants another chance to come and we can get back to him afterwards. He so apologized for this. That was well said, Dr. Caroline. But can you give us 2-3 minutes so that Yesenia can say what, and then we can hear from our own Felix, Mr. Wilson, and then we all can just close. I think those who are listening right now are not listening in vain because you've said it so well, and our own Leo Johnson just nailed it. You're sitting, the floor is yours, please.
You're on mute.
I'm on mute. Okay. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of you for availing yourself this journey for Liberia, a better Liberia. But to those of you who are listening who will participate in the coming elections, I like to add my voice to Leo's voice. There were a lot of processes and laws put in effect for election commissions. Let me say this: people may not like it. I think they're very lazy. I think they're writing the laws. As was stated, these people knew we're going to have election next month and 2 months from now, or a month and a half from now, and they have not done their job. We they are working for, and this is what Liberia needs to be. And when you talk about education, Liberians need to understand their rights and responsibility and who is answerable to them for them to hold them accountable. All right. You have election commission that site is off and on. Our finance ministry have been down for the last almost 3 weeks. You can't pull anything out. Maybe it just came back on. All right. We don't know if they are gone. I have traveled in June. I was in Liberia. Last December, I was in Liberia. Last June, I was the June before last, I was in Liberia and traveled around Liberia. Some of these people have no offices in the county as demanded by the law. All right. But since we're leaving, let me bring this to a full. You are going out to vote. You're not going to vote for your father. Neither are you going to vote for your mother. You are going to vote for somebody that will lead you. You are going to vote for somebody that will decide if you live or you die. You are going to vote for somebody that you will decide if you get justice or you don't. You are going to vote for somebody that says if JFK will operate or if J. Randy will operate or will not operate. You're going to vote for somebody who will bring in qualify or disqualify people because of friendship, because of travel line, because of content relationship. That's your future or your children's future. So that one vote, think before you cast it. That one vote or the people that you convince, make sure that one vote will take you for 6 years. Out of 6 years, that will bring a new future, or 6 years of pain that will cost you as you've been for the last 6 years. So I look forward to the next conversation. Doc, it's great having you here. Felix, great seeing you again. Lucy, let's do this again. I think
Yeah,
I
please
very
don't please,
Liberia. Thank you.
please don't go off. Let's give Felix a chance. 2 minutes, please. Thank you.
I'm not going
Thank,
anywhere.
thank you, Madam Chair. Now, I'm a guy who's known to be the devil's advocate, and that's where I'm going to take my conversation. I like to see Liberia's situation as glass half full. And I will preface my statement by saying one, I do not profess the know-it-all have all the answers. And I know there are several hundreds, thousands, probably a million persons or more in Liberia that are more educated than I am. And so, why do I say that? I wish Leo was on. I marvel and respect the energy with which he approached the topic and spoke about the ills of Liberia. But I believe it's not a zero sum game, right? It's like I said, it's a glass half full side type situation, and that it's very important that we qualify our statements and not speak as though all is lost, right? Um, One of the things I like to look at and try to understand is the fact that there are limitations to what we can do or what we control when it comes to Liberia. For example, frustrated as we may be, the elections commissions have already cleared these people to run for president, right? All of the candidates. So we can we, we can cry down the system all we want. The fact of the matter is they are running. Um, Challenging them on their ability to win the election, to me, um, in my opinion, is a waste of our energy because it's on them, right? They have been declared uh, viable candidates, and if they don't have the platform, it's on them. Where I think we have hit the mark is our discussion on the power of the one vote and our call to Liberians to take the time to evaluate the candidates. I've told several colleagues that based on my interaction with some of the candidates, listening to them and seeing them present their platform and not, just like Mr. Leo said, I disqualified them because their ability to just manage the campaign, right, was off, right? But that's for those of us. How many of us can do that? And that's why I think this platform and its focus on the power of one vote and educating those of our Liberians who are less fortunate, not educated to the process, to understand how powerful the one vote is so important. And I think that's where most of our energy should be spent. You know, when it comes to the educational system, we know it's broken. We know Liberia is broken. That's why we're all passionate about it, right? I think what we need to do is channel our energy to the things that um, will make us and lift us to the level that we want to be. Now, decry the system what you may. The government is there. And guess what? I will tell you this. I tried to go the business route, the humanitarian route. And because of my experience with the government, right, which touches every aspect of our lives in Liberia, I got so frustrated. I said, look, try as I may, I think I'm going to have to find a way to find a candidate I can support that will bring about the change that we need. Because at the end of the day, we cannot completely ignore government because why? Government controls everything just about in the country. So yes, we have those sectors we need to prop up. And Madam Chair, this is a great debate that we had at one of our sessions, right? I would love to have Leo on because he has some great points. I agree with him in a lot of areas, but there are areas where I think he and I disagree and can find common grounds to move forward in terms of how to build up our country, empower our youth, and make our system better, even our government. So I just wanted to say, thank you all for this afternoon and tolerating me. And I hope we find a time to really debate the issues as we've so passionately done just now. Before I shut up, I want to recognize Mrs. Dr. Jerry Wilson Wright. She's my older sister. I didn't know she was going to join, but just wanted to recognize her presence, Madam Care. And again, thank you all for tolerating me. I look forward to future discussions, right? And if nothing else, I want to agree. First, thank Councillor Gonglo for being on the call,
Yep.
right? And secondly, as thank him for lifting the topic of the rule of law, because as you guys know, that's one of the topics we've hit on a lot over several of our past discussions here. And so, applauding for that. I know there are a lot of areas he could improve on, but I just want to thank him for making the effort. And lastly, Madam Chair, based on our experience today, I think number one question for the candidates going forward should be what are they going to do to improve the technology infrastructure that we can have discussions like this without the type of interruption we experience from
Yeah, I
time to
think I think that's a
time.
good question, and we just add it to the pool of questions we have. But I would just like to just say thank you to also our woman presidential candidate, that Councillor Gonglu, for coming on, and also what he stated. I want to just reinforce it. He said he's going to make sure that all government employees, and all the branches of government, that their salaries are posted. Like mine is posted because here I work with the government, so it's posted, and so people can look at it and see, compare your salary to actually what you're really doing. So I think that's a very good point that he made. It happened that he couldn't come on. I also want to applaud Leo when he stated that uh, the Liberians, the electorates, are not educated when it comes to the election in totality, because I think educations are made, being civic education are done based on political affiliation, and whether it was done 100%, I've not seen it. But if you're in a political party, you educate the people that will be voting for you. But what Mr. Leo was stating, that it shouldn't be that way, that all Liberians have the rights to be educated, to know what is going on. And I think that was so that is very, very true. And so though a lot of things that should have gone on, we didn't see it, whether maybe one, the government did not have funding to educate the entire populace in Liberia, we don't know. But these are some of the suggestions, and I agree with Dr. Caroline that we need to come together as Liberians, and we're supposed to be meeting to discuss it, to put a frame and a structure together, because these are some of the things these are some of the dots that are not connecting. If you're not in a political party at all, that means you're not civically, you're not educated. Okay, the standard in the Western country, and even even in America, you cannot compare that to Liberia, because a lot of things people don't even know when to vote. Even in the States here, some people don't know whether they're voting. They don't really care anyway. But in Liberia, some areas people did not get any education. They only know that they register and they're going to vote for a particular political party because of what they're getting or what their uncle is getting, and that is wrong. So now we've discussed all these things. We'll continue to discuss until the end of the election. But like Dr. Caroline said, we need to come together to make sure that we Liberians are here accountable for these kind of things. And you said it right. Leo also stated it. Elections discussion like this should have started 6 years ago, so that people can be aware and be well informed to vote. But that did not happen. So I'm happy that we have such professional, well-informed individuals as part of the Liberian View, that we're going to come together and put some about our words into writing and be able to execute it. Anyone want to have the final saying? The floor
Yeah,
is yours.
please. Yes, please.
I will, okay.
Let me say this, please. I want to speak to the Liberians that are in the U.S. here and other places abroad. Let's appeal to the international world, international organizations. When Dr. Allen was here, I guess it was in June when we met, he said he he encouraged us to call our representatives. Let's appeal to them to help monitor the elections in the country, because there are rumors going around, and I believe uh, in time past, I believe those rumors because of what has happened in the past, that people are planning to steal the election. There are people that have plans to take the election, whether they win it or not. If we can get the international world involved, ECOWAS, OAU, whoever, let's try to contact these people to help us, because we don't want our country um, continually going backwards. We want to rise up and we want to move forward. So Liberians that are living abroad, contact whoever you think and we can appeal to help us monitor the election process in Liberia, so that whoever wins gets it and nobody else takes it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And Lucy, I wanted to add up too. You had a young man on here, Alex Stefan, who I brought on the platform, helping raise some money to kind of amplify his voice and what he does in Liberia in civic education. Maybe we need to collaborate with him, okay? Because we all can be on the ground. He covers especially the younger voter, and they can go back to the family and teach them. Somebody like me, I've been visible for the last 6 years or the last 8 years, educating as much as I know how with the limited resources that I have voluntarily. I'll go home if I can, go to community if the people can speak English, speak dialect, or find other people that can speak what's native to them to be able to understand the value of their vote or their one vote. Um, I think we're doing a great job, but I think we need to reach out. It should not be just during election year. All right. The reason that most Americans don't go to the out, or some don't go, but most have learned to go. Not that they're not taught, they're taught. And Americans are not any better than us. We have an educational system, and I miss that council of the state. When our education system is at the mercy of volunteers, that's the nation we are creating, because what we teach, the world becomes. All right. So we have more work to do. As a reminder that Dr. Davis just said and Dr. White said here, we that are here in the United States, in Europe, in the Oceania country, in Asia, that have the ability to reach our people who think democracy needs to be protected, we need to reach out to those who have voice, bigger voices, to help us in this process. So I do agree that my party comment for that matter. Yes, I think so.
Okay. So, having said that, we just want to take this time to say thank you to all. September 3rd, you'll be hearing from um, um, uh, our own presidential candidate, Alexander Cummings. And then we will also just look around maybe the following weekend, a Sunday again, we'll call on the three presidential candidates again and see whether we can have, especially Councillor Gongolo have stated he apologized what is going on, and we understand. Maybe I will try to use a Zoom instead. Let's see what will happen and see. But we've had others on this particular call from Liberia on the same StreamYard because it was very good. So after this call, I will call you all individually and then we can talk from there. But having said that, we want to say thank you all, and please tune in on the 3rd again, where you will hear from another presidential candidate, Alexander Cummings. Thank you all, and please have a nice evening.
Thank you. Thank you,
Lucy.
Lucy. Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Thanks,
Felix. Thank you,
everyone.
Dr.
Nice
Davis.
meeting
Look
you
forward to
all
seeing
again.
you next weekend.
Yes.
You're taking our Labor Day weekend for us? You mean?
On the 3rd,
Labor Day
I
weekend.
beg you.